We are at the engine repair shop of Air France Industries. As you can see, this is not exactly your average office. Just behind me, there is a massive aircraft engine, which is something that is 10 metric tons plus. So, Guillaume Adrien, thank you very much for welcoming us in this incredible facility.
You're welcome.
Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you were doing prior to joining Air France Industries?
Prior to joining Air France Industries, I was working for the heavy industry, in fact. First, I start at the quotation department of Ponticelli company, which is a revamping refinery. And after I move as an industry analyst to Loast company, who was, at least, I don't know if it's still the case, the world leader of lime and limestone market. Then I've done that few years and moved to I was production engineer, the head of the production of two plants. One to build refractory brick for steel industry and also to make PCC, it's a precipitated carbonated calcium for paper, which make the paper very white and very soft. 8 years to do that, and then I moved to Air France Industries.
So it's quite an industrial background. And what is your current role and mission at Air France Industries?
Today I'm in charge of re-engineering the supply chain, try to build what will be the supply chain tomorrow, and it's a kind of challenge. Yeah.
And what makes, I would say, the aviation industry so special is that people may not realize, but in an aircraft, you have pretty much every single piece of technology ever invented by mankind into the aircraft. You know, you have like you have combustion engines, you have electronics, you have very advanced hydraulic systems. You have so much. And so it takes pretty much a whole industry to make an aircraft fly, but that means that for a large company that has been around for many decades, like the Air France Group, just having everybody working together, efficiently and obviously while ensuring, perfect safety of the aircraft is quite a challenge. And so I know that there are broad topics in terms of supply chain efficiency, of harmonization, standardization, end-to-end orchestration, which is very much a challenge because obviously Air France doesn't operate millions of aircraft. It operates hundreds of aircraft, but not millions. Nobody has millions of aircraft. So could you tell us a little bit more about those, harmonization challenge, standardization, orchestration challenges at Air France Industries?
Maybe I can give you a few order of magnitude about what we are dealing with. To have an aircraft flying safely, we need tens of thousands of different individual references. During 1 year, we have around 1 million of flow going through all of supply chain with hundreds of different destinations, which makes a pretty complex scheme for travel. In addition to that, we are a bit different than the classical supply chain, the one that we learn when you read the book and everything, based mainly because let's say on a manufacturing supply chain, you have a specifically sales order that you can anticipate, and then everything is scheduled from that, and you are able to produce a part and then distribute it. For the MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul world, it's a bit different. We are not able to schedule as easily this type of removal. So we have to build kind of statistical way of anticipating the workload we will have, and also to build a way to react very quickly when we discover that we have to take a part very urgently. I think our main point today is the connectivity between the system that we are working with, especially because we are working with partner, with customer, we have internal system also, and the key is the big connection and the quick connection between all this information system.
And in the entire aviation industry, so security is paramount. This is completely non-negotiable, and but also the complexity is just over the top in terms of different sort of parts, different technologies, different sort of suppliers, and everything. And so my understanding is that pretty much the default is very little efficiency. I mean, again, it's not that people don't want to be efficient. Is that if you just say as a starting point you want to be absolutely safe, non-negotiable, so you can't cut any corner on anything. And then you have something that is massively complex, and you don't have millions of aircraft. You only have, hundreds. For a group like Air France, over 1,000, but that's almost one of the largest groups worldwide operating fleets of aircraft. Efficiency is just incredibly challenging. Could you tell us a bit about maybe the sort of perspectives that you have to, gain efficiency, to make the supply chain, I'm talking about, the end-to-end coordination to keep the aircraft in the air, more efficient at Air France Industries?
So if we get back to the first question, one key is the ability to forecast the event which will occur. This is one point. The second one is to be able to reduce the time when the part is unserviceable in the chain, because the added value we have is also to be sure that we will have the good parts at the right time for the right plane. This is an issue. And if we have a time of unserviceability which is too long, for sure the cost is very high. So to optimize the supply chain and to optimize the organization to be sure that we provide everything, we have to reduce this time. This is the main thing, I think, and to achieve that, of course, we have to work on the system, on the connectivity, on the data. That's what we are doing now.
And your colleagues describe you as Mr. Supply Chain of the future. And what are the sort of, I would say, initiative or technologies that really capture your interest for the future of the supply chain at Air France Industries?
Just before answering, supply chain of the future, yes, at least we are all designing supply chain. Supply chain is not dedicated to one guy. Supply chain, there is chain in the world. It's a combination of the work of, I would say, almost all the service of the company, going from the IT department to the sales department to the purchase to the customs. And if one is not working properly, the supply chain is not efficient. So the first thing is the coordination that we will be able to achieve between all these services. Now, if you get back just to technology and what can help us to do that, we have some pretty good projects that we are launching or we will launch. Maybe I have two in mind. We are now launching a study about the acquisition of data according paperwork. We have a lot of paperwork in logistics and in aeronautics. And with a layer of AI in it, we will be able to identify exactly which data, where are they, and how to store it in a proper field to accelerate the supply chain. This is one. Another one that I would like to launch also is that there are a lot of progress this past year on the camera and the capacity and the ability to analyze images. And you can use it on plants, on logistics centers, to have a better knowledge of your flow and even capture information directly on the parcels. So these are, I think, enthusiastic things that we have to work on.
And so data is all over the place and increasingly so. And because there are many systems that can be connected together, and my perspective is that it's usually, I would say, relatively easy to engineer thousands of KPIs. With computers, it's relatively cheap to add KPIs, to add metrics, to measure tons of things, but it's actually quite challenging to have even a handful KPIs that actually brings really value to the company, or even bring some transparency, because you can be just buried under all those numbers. How do you see, your work and the perspective for the supply chain at Air France to deal with all this data and achieving better transparency, better efficiency without getting buried under the data that is just flowing from all those systems?
Yeah, you point a very good question. That's true, and fully support your statements. It's very difficult to make relevant KPI when you have a lot of information. It's very easy to put everything on the table and say, okay, look at what we have. We have thousands of information, and we have the technology now to be able to identify and build the 3 KPIs. For everyone. We even have the technology to build the 3 KPIs, even if they are different for everyone. So we can do it right now. What we have to learn and maybe to progress on, I think it's the job of the data analyst that is growing through the company and growing through the world anyhow, which will be able to combine with the knowledge of the business. We will be able to extract the proper information to this amount of information which is coming to us. And it's going to be more and more complex because as the system are growing and the device also are growing and put it and are able to give more information to us, this work is very important to be done. Yeah, I think I fully support that.
Lokad has been working for half a decade with Air France Industrie, and fundamentally we are predictive optimization software. So how does this predictive optimization even relate to the sort of challenges that you're facing at Air France Industries?
As mentioned initially, it's very important for us to have predictive information. This is one of our way of optimization of the supply chain. So we need it. We have worked with Lokad for a long time now. I think as far as I recall, it's 7 years, I guess. And I feel that there is a very good combination between, let's say, your supply chain scientist, data analyst, and our business knowledge. And this combination of both knowledge of the business and knowledge of how to manage the data and the high competency in the statistic area have helped us globally to progress on that. And we are able to optimize, thanks to these both competencies, the supply chain monitoring within Air France, and I hope it will last for long.
Thank you. And I believe that the Lokad approach is fairly unusual. I mean, compared to, I would say, what is typically found in supply chain textbooks. What surprised you the most about the way Lokad is even approaching the aviation supply chain?
I would say instead of having an approach which is very classical, I mean the book says that the supply chain is that, so we have to do that. We have really appreciated the understanding of the business, which is a bit different for the MRO. We were able to almost to merge the competency of both, to have a well of understanding of what Lokad is doing on our side and what we are doing on Lokad's side. And at the end, it leads us to develop some solutions, I mean, very easily because we were understanding ourselves when we were speaking together, and with the time to market, which is very quick. So this is my let's say, what I have appreciated most, and maybe my surprise also.
During those 7 years, hopefully Lokad has been doing things right or two, so that's why we're still around, after all this time. And what were maybe just an illustration, the sort of very concrete benefits for Air France Industries of having this sort of technology, around predictive optimization? Do you have anything that would be illustrating that?
On the top of my head, it's difficult because it's a continuous work between the teams of Lokad and the teams of Air France. Difficult to say that it's coming from one way or another. It's really it's like a recipe, it's a combination of different ingredients which brings the value. For sure, we have discovered together that on some of supply chain area we have made some improvements. We have identified that on the stock management we can also improve a bit. So yes, there are a lot of different optimizations which are running right now.
How would you describe, your present roadmap for the future of the Air France supply chain?
We're in the middle of a transformation program right now. At least I think the supply chain it's a constant transformation program anyhow. Is your question based on maybe the IT roadmap, system roadmap, or the global supply chain?
Global supply chain, the end-to-end. I mean, obviously the two are hand in hand. You need to be able to take the right decision and then have the right, facilities and engineering equipment so that you can execute everything. But overall, I think the two are really are really coupled, and that's also what makes it very difficult.
It is, and the difficulty is to make the link between the real operation and at least the data that you retrieve in your system in different systems, and not only your system, can be system of partner or customer or supplier. One thing that we are aiming for is to make this digital twin of the supply chain compared to the real one, to be able to open field of optimization that we do not even imagine at this moment, I would say.
I believe, as a parting question, that it's fair to say that aviation supply chain is a lot more demanding than just screening Excel spreadsheets and deciding the safety stocks for 1,000 SKUs. First, there is a lot more than 1,000 SKUs. We are more like in the hundreds of thousands. But what sort, looking at that, if we are talking to maybe young engineers who might be interested into this sort of field, what are the sort of qualities that you're looking for in your younger colleagues, when they join the company?
Surprisingly, I'm not looking first at the supply chain or IT competencies. Of course, it's better if they have it, that's not the point, but it's not the first thing I look for. I ensure that as we are working in a very fast-moving environment, they will be able to adapt, and they will be able even to drive the change. So the curiosity is one aspect which is very important, and it's difficult to learn it. So it's a thing you have or you have not. So if you are curious, you are more than welcome. The second part, we are more and more data-driven. So they have to, at one point or another, like to work with data. This is something also very important. And the merge of the two, this is something very important to work with this supply chain evolution. For the rest, if they have the envy, they can learn it. They can learn the MRO model. It's complex, but you can learn it. The IT system also, it's different on every company, so you can learn it. So that's not very important. But the two things, curiosity, data, and maybe touch of innovation could be good.
Thank you very much. So thank you again for receiving us in this incredible aircraft repair shop at Air France Industrie. Thank you very much, Guillaume.